BMWs have some of the coolest, best looking cars on the market, and some of the not so coolest looking cars on the market. But the best of the best BMWs are, of course, the M cars. And today we're doing an M car tier list, all the BMW M cars. We're gonna go ahead and rank them and see which one's the best. Now for this list, we're gonna be doing all the sedan M's, so from the 1 all the way to the M8. And we're gonna be doing both the Z3M, the Z4M, as well as the SUV M's. So we're getting everything in here, and we're going by model type. So if I say we're ranking the M3, we're looking at the M3 model line as a whole. If you're watching this, I'm sure you know how tier lists work, so let's just get into it. So starting off at number 1, we have the BMW M. I think this is a super unique car. My friend actually has a 135 with the M front bumper, and it looks so nice. That's really rare in the BMW world today. You don't see much of it at all. It's a small sports coupe that kind of did the M2's job before the M2 was even a thing. Barely see it anymore. They made something like 5,000 or 6,000 of these total, and only about 980 were even in North America. Right off the bat, I can give the 1M an A tier. Number 2, similar story with the M2. We only have basically 2 generations to look at here. 2015 to 2021 and 2022 and up. Now this is where I'm really torn, because the original 2015 to 2022 BMW M2, I think that's an absolute fan favorite. The 1M walked so that the BMW M2 first generation could run. This is a really cool car. Again, tiny car, great power. But then we go into the new generation of the M2, and this one has a lot of people torn. I myself think it looks okay. I think it needs some time before it grows on me, but a lot of people hate this car. Call it what you want, call it a Lego car, call it a Roblox car. This car kind of looks ridiculous. Again, I think once people get used to it, give another year or two, I think it's gonna start growing on people, but right now I totally get it. Not the best, and for that reason I'm putting it straight down the middle. We're giving it a B tier. Coming in at number 3, this has to be one of the most popular lines of BMWs, is the M3. I think when you think M, when you think BMW M, this is the model line that you go to. So many iconic cars in here, right from the very first model, the E30, then we have the E36, then the E46 and the E92. Probably the 2 most popular BMW M3 models that you see today are the E46 and the E92. E46 especially, because it's got a lot of modability and a lot of tunability. I actually made a video called Top BMWs to Modify, and the E46 M3 was right up there near the top. Check out the video here if you want. But M3 has iconic models all throughout, even the new ones, the F80 and the G80. I know the G80 took a while for people to catch on to. That's the one with the long grills that people just thought, you know, BMW's making bigger grills on their cars every single year. But now that it's been out for a while, I think people have started to really like it. I personally really like that car. Right from model generation 1 all the way to the newest one. I think this is an iconic BMW model class, and I love it. This is getting the very first S tier of the list. Up next, and in my opinion the most uninteresting of the BMW models, is the BMW M4. I think this is just some weird like in-between model that I just don't really know what to do with in my head. Maybe that's why I don't like it. I know a lot of people do, and no hate to those people. But for me, if you're gonna do a small sports 2-door coupe, go with the M2, go with the 1M. That's really what they're made for. If you're going for a bigger, longer body style, you got the M5 right around the corner coming in after the M4. And so the M4 is just this weird in-between car that I just never could get behind. I'm not a huge fan of the look. I know it's got really strong performance, and I've seen some really clean builds with it, but me personally, I don't know, I don't think I can get behind it. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna have to put this one in the D tier, unfortunately. I mean, not a lot of models here to talk about either. We've basically got like 2 generations, the first and the second. I like the second with, again, the new elongated grills. I think that looks really nice, but we've had that first model for so long. I just think it's kind of boring. Don't like the car. That's the way it is. I'm sorry. D tier. I'm very biased with this next pick because when you look at that, it's my car. The BMW M5, I think, are some of the craziest BMWs built, specifically the BMW M5 E60, which I incidentally own and that this whole channel is based on. That car is one of the most insane things I've ever seen built. A 4-door family-looking sedan that has a V10, 507 horsepower stock, F1 inspired naturally aspirated engine. This thing is just, it's alien. I don't know why they decided to build this, but I love it. All of the M5 models are super clean all the way throughout, and even the new ones, although I think they're a bit too businessy and a bit too almost moving away from sports car, they have some absolute power in them. I know the new M5 Competition is the most powerful BMW ever built, so M5 again is just one of those super iconic model lines in BMW that I think everyone knows, everyone respects, and everyone appreciates. For me, the top 3 M5 models are the E34, E39, and the E60 M5. Right in the middle, I feel like this is exactly where BMW found the perfect mix between sports car and comfort business sedan, while not compromising on either. They're comfortable, long cars that have a lot of room in them, and they're luxurious inside, but they have some absolute beasts underneath the hood. Where I think the newer cars, again, are a bit too businessy, but still respect across the entire line here. I think this is a super iconic BMW line. I'm gonna have to put this one up with the M3s in the S tier. Now coming in right after the M5s, we have the BMW M6 model line. And again, the look of the M6 is one that also gets people very torn. The M6 is a weird one where there's been an M6 model for a long time. The first one being produced in 1983. But since then, we've only had 2 other variations, and that middle variation, call it the sad M6, because it looks like it's a super depressed car. That one gets a lot of people torn. Me personally, I really like it. I've also seen a lot of custom M6s that are really, really nice. My buddy's got an M6 that I'm a big fan of. And one thing I will respect about the E63 M6, it does have the same V10 naturally aspirated engine that the M5 E60 does. So there's definitely some respect due there. That being said, not a huge fan of the new M6. Doesn't really do anything special to me. Also doesn't really differentiate itself from the regular 6 series from that model year. Nothing too crazy going on there, so not a huge fan of that. Also, the older one looks kind of weird to me. I think there's a lot of older BMWs and Mercedes, for example, that are super nice and clean. This one for me is not one of them. Looks more like a giant boat. Not a fan. M6, I'm gonna have to put you in the C tier. 3 models, one of them which I really like, the other 2 kind of stinkers, not a huge fan, so we're putting you in the C tier. Now, as of making this video, there's currently no M7, so we're going straight to 8, and the BMW M8, which again, we only have 1 model year to look at right now. I think this is a very good, modern looking car. It's only been around since 2019, so I think it's the newest on this list. For me, it just lacks a bit of that BMW charm and a bit of that BMW excitement that something like the M3s, the M5s, or the 1Ms really get me going for. When I look at this car, all I think is this is a tech CEO's car. I don't know how else to say it. It does have a twin turbo V8, which is really cool, and I've gotten to drive one time, and it was fun, but again, it's just kind of big and bulky and long, and I'm not a huge fan of big, bulky, and long cars. That's why I think I like the 1M, the M3 model so much, because they're small, snappy, quick. The original M2 model as well. And then the M5s just have that raw power, and they make up for the extended size by having these crazy engines like the S85 V10. The M8 for me, it's a right down the middle of the line kind of car. You know, it's really cool. I don't think anyone's going to be talking about this as a legendary BMW down the road, like some of the other models, like the 1M, for example. So for me, right down the middle of the line, it's joining the M2 in the B tier. Now I'm going to get to the SUVs last, which I have down here. I'm actually going to focus on the 2 Zs over here. So the Z3M and the Z4M. These are some of the most unique cars ever. So the Z3M is again a super unique car. It was only produced from 1997 to 2002, so a very short production range. And this car looks kind of goofy, but also I kind of love it. With only 15,000 made, it's still a bit more common than the 1M, but still a really low production number. 325 horsepower on a car that weighs basically nothing. When I look at this car, I feel like I could just flip it over myself. 0 to 100 in 5.4 seconds. Again, all really good numbers. And this is again back in 1997. So this car was really advanced and really unique for its time. Some people are torn on the look. I really like it. I like it a bit more actually than the Z4, and we'll get into that in a sec. But for me, I think the Z3 is a really cool car that you do not see a lot anywhere. I used to work at a BMW dealership, and we had one of these come in once, and I think it sold for something like $35,000. So I mean, this car has some value to it. Not much more to say on that. Again, not a lot of models to look at here. Z3M, I am putting you in the A tier. Also note that this car came with a hatchback and a convertible model. For me, I really like the hatchback. I think it's one of the craziest looking cars. It looks like a shoe. You got the big duckbill coming out the front with that weirdly shaped hood. and then that cranium freaking hatchback that just drops down the back. This car looks like it's out of a video game. And for that reason, it's going in the A tier. Now, the BMW Z4M I think is also a really cool car, almost right on par with the Z3M. The thing I don't like about this is just the new Z4. I don't think it's interesting. It's got no power, it's got nothing to it really. It's kind of just a, you know, it only comes in soft top, which kind of sucks. So I would definitely want a hard top if I got a car like that. So for me, doesn't really do anything special. Not too much more to say on it. I don't know too much more about this car. The older model, however, specifically the E85 that was produced from 2003 to 2008, I think that is the prime model for this car. I'm a really big fan of that one. That model alone, I think, pushes up this car up into the A tier. I was going to give it B because of kind of the newer models, which I don't like, but it's kind of a follower of the Z3. I think the Z4 initially did a really good job. New model, again, we don't even have to talk about. I don't like that one. But the first model coming in after the Z3, which is the E85, I'm giving that an A tier. Now, I also just realized, now that I've like almost done this list, I completely forgot about the Z8. This car is a super weird car, and it's basically just a concept car brought to life. I'm not a huge fan of the look. I know some people go absolutely crazy for this car. I'm not even gonna rank it, but I just realized I left it out. I'm gonna call it a concept car because it basically is one. It was barely out there for any amount of time, and they only ever made 5,000. Weird car, I don't know how I feel about it, but I'm not gonna rank it. To round out this list at the very end, we're gonna quickly go through all the SUVs. Again, I don't even think a lot of these are comparable or can compete with some of the M cars that are already on this list, but really quick to bring it off, I really like the X3M. I think that's a really cool looking car. I'm gonna toss that right in the middle here in the B, purely based off looks and size. I think the X3 and the X5 are probably the two best sized SUVs that BMW's built. They're not too big, not too small. They make sense for what they are. I don't know what it is about 4 models, but just like the M4, the X4M I am not a fan of at all. I don't like the shape. I also just think it's a worse looking X6M. I don't know why you would pick the X4 over the X6 unless it was price, but I'm putting that straight down with the M4 in the D tier. D is really getting filled out by 4 Series right now. It's not good to see. X5, excellent car. X5M, I've seen some really cool cars built. I think the SUV, the X5, is the best SUV model of all the ones that BMW offers. Very cool. I'm putting this right in the B tier along the X3M. X6M, again, better version of the X4M. It's definitely not going down there in D. I've seen some really cool builds with this one. However, the new X6M is very uninteresting to me. I don't like how it looks, and doesn't make me super excited about these cars. Older models are great. The one in this picture here is awesome. I've seen some really cool builds, but I think the newer model pulls it down a bit. So it's going in the C tier down with the M6. So that's gonna be it, guys. I hope you enjoyed. This was a quick tier list of all the BMW M cars. If you like what you see, a sub and a like would really be appreciated. Comment down below what your favorite BMW M car is, and if it's the M4, I'm very sorry. Now, if you want to see more BMW and specifically BMW M5 E60 content, I primarily use this channel to vlog my build of the M5 E60, taking it to car meets, customizing it, showing you all the problems that come along with owning a V10 that was built in 2006. There's a lot, but there's so much more coming to that car. I cannot wait to show it to you all. And thank you guys so much as always for watching. My name's Chris. See ya.